Hello everyone. Today is Buddha Purnima. This is the most important festival for Buddhists around the world, and it is the day. So the Buddha Purnima falls. Purnima is the full moon. So Buddha Purnima falls on the first full moon day of the month of Vaishak in the Indian lunar calendar. The Indian lunar calendar does not map one to one to the Gregorian solar calendar that we use nowadays, but generally it is somewhere in April or May. So this is celebrated, the Buddha Purnima is celebrated worldwide. uh, Maybe I could try and show you the moon, because it's a full moon and you can start seeing it in the evening. Well, this is right now the morning, so you can't really see it. It appears somewhere there, uh, and maybe I'll try to put up a shot of how it looks tonight if it is not cloudy. Yesterday it was a bit cloudy, so you couldn't see it. You could not see it clearly, but it was very bright. It was as if there was a tube light outside my window in the balcony. So the importance of this day is threefold. This is the day in which Sakyamuni Buddha was born in 500 BC. So that is around 2600 years before this you're watching this video, or well, 2600 years before I made this video. Who knows when you will watch it. And he was born in Lumbini, which is now in current day Nepal. Then the second importance of this day is that this is the day that Sakyamuni Buddha achieved enlightenment, and that that happened in Bodh Gaya. That is also, there is also a very big celebration that happens in Bodh Gaya. Bodh Gaya is in Bihar in India. And then the third importance of this day is this is the day in which Sakyamuni Buddha achieved Parinirvan, which is that this is the day he died. And that is, it's not really known where that happened exactly. I think it is supposed to be somewhere near current day Patna in Bihar. So there is a very big celebration happening here, and there are multiple celebrations happening all across the Lahaul region. Uh, what they tend to do is they tend to decide on one particular place which will have the primary celebration, and that sort of keeps changing every year. There's the Kardang monastery on that hill. I've not been there yet. And there's a monastery on top of Kelong. Then there's this monastery, Gompa, Tupsling Gompa, and then there is a Triloknath temple up that valley. And this year the primary celebrations are happening on the Triloknath temple. You would not be by now surprised to know that here the temples and gompas and monasteries, they sort of all have a similar sort of role in people's life. A bit more surprising is the fact that people also, it's not a different set of people who come to the same place of worship. People are also similarly fluid in identifying with the religions. So if you ask them, like the folks whose place I am staying at, they are both Hindus and Buddhists, or both Buddhists and Hindus, and they don't really tend to mentally classify themselves as either one of them to any extent. They have Hindu pandits and priests coming to their house to do havans. That is quite common for them. They also go, the priests in many cases come from the same gompas, these Buddhist gompas, this one, other ones here. They also go to the lamas. The degree to which it's a mixture depends on the region, specifically the valleys. So there is the language here. There are roughly 5 dialects of the local language here, and those dialects are sort of geographically mapped to valleys. And the religious stance, or let's say the religious mixture is also a bit is also similarly mapped. So I'm not sure about the Sisu Valley, although there also I saw gompas with Hindu idols, but specifically here in this region, that is sort of the norm. And this actually this continues on in this particular valley that you're seeing. That is the valley which is going to a place called Udaipur, not the one in Rajasthan, it's a different Udaipur. And uh, then if you go towards that side, that is the Leh side, that is Keelong. So there the mixture tends a bit more towards only Buddhism, like people identify less and less towards the Hindu side of things, and the monasteries there are more, let's call it purely Buddhist. So coincidentally, 2 days ago was the first time I came to the monastery, and while I was just roaming around here and there, I heard a very nice organic music. It was not like perfectly to a beat. It was two, three lamas who were playing that, and they were in time. They were not sounding bad, but they were not like totally synced. They were just, there was an organic feel to it, which was very nice. Then there were three other lamas who were dancing. Well, I don't know if you will call it a dance. It is a sort of a dance, and they were dancing to it, and I was a bit taken aback because that is not a thing I was expecting when I went to a monastery, and I actually didn't know if this was a, like, this is the thing they do in evenings to chill out, sort of. I don't think that is the way it worked, and but I didn't know better. So later on I came to know that they were actually pre-practicing for today's celebration. The one I saw day before yesterday was just like they were just like sort of warming up. The lamas here actually have come specifically from Zanskar, 25 of them, because the lamas in this place, they were not enough numbers to do the full enactment. So yes, coming back to it, yesterday I came back. Yesterday was a bigger rehearsal. It was still not a full dress rehearsal, but the move, uh, that is the part which I will witness for the first time today, because apparently they will also wear masks and be dressed up a bit more than they were yesterday. But they were doing a very, very soothing dance yesterday. I loved the music, and I don't know if there's a specific time they'll start. People have been like coming in all the time I've been here, and there's food there, and I guess they will start in a bit. So I better head on down. I don't want to miss it. I'm looking forward to it because it's the first time I'll be seeing it live. Well, actually, I've not even seen it recorded. So the irreverent part is, so this is supposed to be, at least from what I understood, this is supposed to be uh, a demonstration of Mahakal, and like it was an act in 3 parts. There is a lot of symbolism there to, like, in the same mixture of like sanctity and like, I don't know, uh, holiness. They introduced 2 jokers. So there were 2 jokers, which they were also lamas, and like I think in the middle of the first act they came in. I mean, I now totally understand how it would have worked in the court of kings when they had jokers. So these guys were basically, I mean, initially it felt as if it was a reflection of people like me, like who were out there holding their phones and trying to take pictures and videos, while these were Buddhist monks trying to get across a message. So, I mean, I thought the jokers were a reflection of who I am, like idiots bumbling around. But I mean, maybe that's one part of it. Uh, but the other part of it was like it suddenly made everyone not take anything seriously. At the same time, it made everything a bit more serious. It's very hard to explain. Uh, maybe, I mean, maybe it's not a very big thing I'm trying to get across. Maybe you already understand it. But the presence of these like monks in very like dragon-like costumes, trying to get across a very subtle metaphorical, metaphysical message, and then there are 2 jokers who are trying to replicate their moves, just being very like jokery. And so you don't take, I mean, while you don't take the main dance seriously, it, I think it elevates it. And they were not like just doing it for the dance which the lamas were doing. They were doing it for everything. I mean, there was some big shot guy, because he was wearing like, not a Buddhist big shot, some local big shot guy who was like, who came, who wanted to take a picture. So one of the jokers came in and like they hopped onto him, which is like totally unexpected. And like, so there was a bunch of performances by school children. So they would come in there, like even school children were not off limits. These were like kids trying to perform, and they were doing the dances, and the joker would butt in and try to like, yeah, okay. So it was, the presence of the jokers was unexpected. In terms of the acts that the lamas themselves did, I actually enjoyed the rehearsals a bit more, because, well, I didn't know there will be so many people. There were lots of people, and there were lots of like, I guess, wannabes like me and Instagrammers or whatnot, who were like all around trying to take videos, and all with fancy cameras. And I mean, even the locals were not far behind. Everyone was like had a phone in their hands. So the rehearsal yesterday was a lot more fun for me. Maybe the reason is that it was just the first time I was seeing this, and even though today they had costumes and stuff, yesterday there was an immediacy, because I was like, there were like 10 people around. I was one of the people just sitting there. There were no lines or anything. I mean, I was sitting right there and watching them do the dance. And yeah, the music also, I think I already mentioned, I liked the fact that it was not like a perfect uh, beat or something. It was musical, it was to a time, but there was that little bit of human factor in there, which, like, every now and then the notes would be a bit off, not the notes, the timing would be a bit off, but overall I felt, at least to me, it made it sound a bit, or a lot more impactful than if it were like totally perfect. So yeah, that was the event. It was quite well organized, I would say. There was food, and there was breakfast in the morning, and there was tea, and there was like lunch for I don't know how many people, but I guess at least 300, 400, 500 people. I don't know, I am bad with counting the number of people. There were lots of people. I mean, that entire thing was covered with people. Okay, so Buddha Purnima, I'm glad for once to have been here today, because I didn't know people celebrated Buddha Purnima this way, and now I've seen it. I don't really understand the meaning of that dance, but I think it meant something, and maybe it will take some time for me to understand what it meant, but I liked what it meant, even though I don't yet know what it meant. And so I would not have seen this if I were not here in Lahaul at this time. And what else? Yeah, on to more mundane matters. So I was saying I might go to Tirupnath. To go there I need a cycle, and so let's get back on the saga of that cycle. So see, if firstly, this is all complicated because I have made it complicated. If I were a local, there is a very, very simple way of getting a cycle fixed. This place is not far from Manali. So what a local would have done is they would have taken the cycle, put it on top of a bus, paid 140 bucks, gotten to Manali, gotten it repaired the same evening, put it on top of a bus, and gotten back here by late evening. And that is as simple as it gets. And there is really nothing stopping me from having done the same. I didn't do it for two reasons. Firstly, I wasn't sure I'm up for like getting the cycle on top of a bus. I think getting it down would be easier, because on Manali I can find some guy, pay him 100 bucks to help me get the cycle down. Getting the cycle up, I mean, it can be done. I could maybe go to Kelong, because the bus would start from there, and try to find a guy to help me out there, or maybe just like ask for help. People here are very helpful, but I like it felt not really something I would enjoy doing. And the second thing is, I had lots of time, so I thought I'll just like wander around. So maybe I'll tell you what I did, how I wandered around and drag this story on. So the first thing I did was I went one day to Kelong. I just walked. So just for reference, that is where I stay. I came down to Andi Bridge, then I walked from here to Kelong. It's not far, it's like, I don't know, 10 kilometers, maybe less. And I tried to find a cycle shop there. There isn't a cycle shop there, which is not unexpected, but I was looking for a guy who could like act as a cycle repair person. So I asked around. Eventually I did find someone, and his name is Kashmir Singh, and he is as unexpected a character as his name would suggest. He is totally someone like out of a movie script, because I mean, he's very like enthusiastic, and the way he talks, and like the what he does. So he doesn't have a cycle repair shop. He has a shop which has everything, and he repairs everything. And so the shop is literally at the end of Kelong. So it is like there's a new bus stand in Kelong, which is at the end of the city, and from the bus stand you can take a U-turn to get back to the city. Right at the U-turn there are two shops. One of them is his shop, the other one I later found out is a dhaba his wife is running. So yeah, and so there are gas stoves, and there are like, of course he's doing a cycle repair, and then I mean, I think he would repair anything which is mechanical. He also acts as a scrap dealer, a kabadi wala. And so like if you just stay in his shop for an hour, you'll find all sorts of people coming with all sorts of things to get repaired, and he'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. And he's very bubbly, so that way he feels like a character out of a movie. So I found him. Yeah, I still don't know how competent he is, although he is a very great person to talk to and stuff. Yeah, so anyways, so Okay, maybe I've gone too far ahead. So the first time I went there, he wasn't there. So then what I did was I went the other way towards Sisu, and that I thought it was in Khangsar. It is not actually in Khangsar. It is in a place called Shuling, which is almost Sisu. So I mean that is a much longer walk. I actually had to come back in a bus because it started raining. I mean, if the weather was clear, I might have been able to make it back, but I wasn't. So, anyways, I went there. Firstly, I was not able to find the shop, and I reached Sisu because I kept walking. I could not find the shop, and I was like, dude, I am sure I did not imagine this. So then I started walking back, and then I saw the shop. I could not find it the first time around because he only has a board on one side coming up from Sisu. He doesn't have a board on the opposite side, and the shop was closed. So I couldn't see it when I was going the right way. Anyways, the shop was closed. I asked around, and so I actually met there was a lady who was walking around. She mistook me for a day laborer, and then because well, I guess I look like a day laborer, and she was asking me कहाँ पे दिहाड़ी कर रहा है, and then later on she figured out I was a tourist. I told her from Delhi. So then she told me that that guy has gone home because there's no business right now. I guess business will pick up once the road to Leh opens up and there are more tourists. So that guy is not there. So then I came back. Then I waited a few days. I think I went there somewhere, and then I went again to Kelong. This time Mr. Kashmir Singh was there. So then he looked at the cycle and he said there is something like missing, some ball bearing missing, which I need to go and get from Manali, and I can't just get the part, I need to get it on the tire. I half understood what he was saying, but he basically, what I rephrased it and confirmed with him was that I should take the tire and go to a shop. I discussed which shop, and go to a shop and show it that space to that guy in that shop, and he'll fix it and get the tire back, which was cool because I was looking for a reason to just go on Manali in a bus, and yeah, that was fun. It was raining that day. It was a surprise how different the south portal, the Manali side, is from this north portal, the Lahaul side. I guess all of this will be green in I guess even just 2-3 weeks at least, or definitely in a month this will all be green, but that process has already started on the south portal. And I mean, more so than Manali, in the Solang Valley it is actually quite beautiful. It's not like autumn colors, but it is orangey in a sense. It is like sort of summer coming to its full bloom, but it's not there yet. So it is green, but it is also orange. And Solang, yeah, and the trees in Solang anyways are quite high. They're those long trees. So Solang looks quite beautiful. I don't know if I'll be able to put up pictures because I was in a bus. I could not really take good shots. And yeah, went to Manali, had a pair of cappuccinos in a nice cafe. It's a Then I wandered around, had stuff to eat. Oh, I forgot. I mean, before I did all of this, I gave the tire to the shop in it's a shop in Mall Road itself. It's run by a bunch of dudes who themselves do cycling. So he told me to come back after an hour or so. Just wandered around. Then I got a tire. So when I got a tire back from him, he told me that it doesn't actually need a ball bearing. It is some other mechanism, or maybe he was trying to say the ball bearings are inside the tire, not outside. I didn't really understand, but he said he has fixed it. There was a screw which was loose inside, and now it is fixed. And well, I asked him to double check the alignment because I thought the alignment might be off, but he said it looks fine. So anyways, I got a tire back. Then I go back to Kelong the next day, and Mr. Kashmir Singh puts back everything, and he does everything everything is fixed. He asked me to take a test ride. I said, go ahead, you take a test ride. He takes a test ride, gives me a thumbs up, then parks the bike. Then I just put it on a stand. I know how to replicate the issue, so I put it on a stand, and then I give it a huge wheel spin, and there is the bubbling. It is exactly now how it was when I had started. It's a bit better. It's not bubbling that violently, but it is still bubbling. So that was a bummer. Having done all of that, coming to naught, the cycle is still not repaired. I don't really have hopes of it getting repaired. So I think the issue is basically either the rim is deformed in some way, or maybe there's some manufacturing defect in the rear wheel, and it just isn't straight or aligned, and something which probably can't be fixed by minor tweaks in alignment. Or maybe I haven't found competent mechanics, but so I don't really have hopes from the cycle anymore. I guess this is why people opt for cycles that cost 50,000 or a lakh or something, because you don't get like silly manufacturing defects. The cycle, otherwise I am super happy with the cycle. It is so lightweight that I don't have a trouble putting it anywhere or carrying it, even if I have to walk a bit. Of course I can drag the cycle with me, but I can also carry it quite easily. So I'm happy with the cycle. I guess it is just some manufacturing defect, but it's not a thing which I guess maybe the mistake I did was I should have gone to a really big mechanic in Delhi before starting out and asked him to make sure the alignment and everything is all right. It's very hard to get cycle mechanics to pay attention, because it's apparently not worth their time to dig too much into it. Again, that's why there are expensive cycle shops which sell expensive cycles and expensive repairs. I guess I'm ranting a bit now because it is a bit frustrating, but I think firstly, all hope is not lost yet. I have sort of given up on the hope, but even after I have given up, there might be hope, because Kashmir thinks that wait, you leave the cycle here, I'll take a look at it in my spare time, because he's quite busy. Every 15 minutes there will be some guy with some stuff coming in, so he also can't really focus that much, I have to say that. So he said he'll take a look at the evenings or something. Anyways, I don't have a hurry, so he said he'll call me when he thinks it is done. So maybe he'll still fix it, but if he fixes it, it's fine. If he doesn't, I think it is still fine, because it's not bubbling that violently, and I think it doesn't seem dangerous, so I'll just sort of manage. I'll maybe have to loosen the brakes so that they don't cause friction. That is maybe going to be the practical problem, and I think he'll be able to do some jugaad, and so that'll, one way or the other, I'll get the cycle back in a couple of days. Then my original estimate of getting the highway getting opened was 7th of May. 7th of May is almost here, and so it doesn't seem to be happening. Now the new estimate seems to be 12th of May. These are my estimates, and no one is giving me estimates anyways. So yeah, I'll have at least 1 week to spare. So what I was thinking was I'll head down this valley, which is the opposite direction. This is the road that goes to Jammu, and I asked and I looked in the maps. There seem to be homestays there. From what I understood, this is a very picturesque area, and Udaipur is not far. It's I think 50 kilometers. If I get there and I find a reasonably priced place to stay, I'll just roam around there for a few days.